Who's still having problems? Tommy, you got it?
Oh my god.
No, you didn't.
Gotcha. You guys work?
Oh, well, am I
Did you figure
No,
this out?
I signed in, and then it like signed me out.
Oh, yeah, don't press D twice or else it like unsigns your.
Okay. Wait, signing people out.
What?
It's like signing people out.
Like automatically?
It signs you out if you touch the button, I guess.
Alright, don't press anything
Once
after
you log in, never get the button.
It's just shady. It's like basically
Are you kidding me? How do you undo it?
Don't press any buttons.
I'm not pressing any type of buttons. Can I press it again, please?
Yeah.
Ready? Can I press it?
Yeah.
Alright, full set. B, A, C.
There you go.
Alright, we're gonna stop this in like 3 seconds. So if you're still white, if your thing is still white, you gotta do it now. Is everyone here?
Yeah.
Can't get it.
It's not working.
Okay, what's your
I think that's what you have to wait for that.
yeah, what do you mean?
Alright, for those of you who couldn't get it, we're gonna have to move on. But we'll meet after the meeting and figure it out. Alright?
Okay.
Alright, so you can just finish that.
Wait, I literally did not touch anything.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, so if your name is still there and it didn't work, then make sure you come find us after the meeting. Okay, so the regular weekly meeting of the Senate of the Student Government Association is now in session. Roll call.
Palmer. Both of us are here. Palmer? Yeah. Ms. Werner? She's a pro.
She's coming. She's on her way.
Okay, do I see a motion to approve last week's minutes? Seconded. All in favor? Approved. Okay, we're going to move into executive reports. Marie, do you want to do that?
Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Derek isn't here today, so I'm doing a report. We don't have a ton to report on. We met with Dean McLaughlin this past Friday. We don't have a ton to talk about, but trash cans will be in place once the snow is gone. That's in motion. We also want to have, President Casey wants us to have like a forum for him to have the vision statement presented to students, and he wants the SGA to help with that. So that's something that we can talk about in the next 2 weeks. But it's for the bicentennial, and it's a statement that he sends out to all alumni. And that's it from me.
Thanks, Marie. Laurel?
Hi everyone. So we had a meeting this past Sunday and tabled 2 proposals. Is the light on there?
Oh, you want to do it now or? I see.
Tabled 2 proposals just because the budgets weren't very itemized. For example, just said like food rather than like where the food is coming from and a quote from Peter, etc. So that was Chinese Interest Association Spring Festival and University Church. We were actually also concerned about that proposal because it was an event for 48 people to go on a curling trip. And we were just concerned about the attendance given the timing of the event. So that's something that we also tabled for discussion at our next meeting. And then we have a big proposal today for Africana Women's Week from Sisters of the Round Table, and they're actually here today to tell you a little bit more about their proposal, because according to our bylaws, we can't fund anything more than $30,000 without putting it before the Senate as well to vote on. And because it's $35,000, it's here tonight. So you will get a chance as a group to look at the proposal, and yeah.
Could you tell me more about the Midnight Movies funding request? I'm just curious why it's so high. Could you tell me
Yes,
a little more
absolutely.
about it?
So that's to rent out movies, or to rent out the Hamilton Theater the night that a movie is released there. And it's open to all Colgate students, so we fund pizza, and most of the cost goes towards just renting out the space. They've been typically very well attended.
So assuming we funded $35,000, how much do we have left in the account?
It's difficult to tell right now. I spoke to Drew about this, and he recommended funding the proposal given the amount that he believes that we have in the account for this semester. We still don't know how many or how much we have for rollbacks from last semester, but right now it's looking like we're in a good place, and we'll have minimum $250,000 to work with, and that's not including all of the block grants and spring party weekend. Yeah.
Do you know the Chinese Interest Association, their event, is it associated with the Lunar New Year Festival? Because I know that that's like a yearly annual thing that they do, and it does draw a big amount of guests, and like I would actually like advocate for it because it brings in like the Asian community and etc. So like, do you know if that's like the Lunar New Year Festival, or is that it?
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Can I get Eli to scroll up
Yep.
just a little bit?
Absolutely.
Right there. So that the BSU party, like just thinking about kind of the social hosting stuff that's come up. How often do we get those slate proposals for kind of these social hosting events? Like how often would you say a slate proposal comes up like that? Is it like a common?
What do you mean like that? Just like a
Like
party
you
as
see-
opposed to like,
Like how often do we have like student groups coming to the BAC for slate proposals? Like how many do you know how many of those we give out?
I would say, that's a good question. I would say it's about probably 60% slate proposals and 40% proposals over $750, but obviously those proposals are typically more expensive.
And
Why do you ask? I'm
Do you
curious.
know how much money gets allocated for like social hosting events on campus from the BAC?
I believe social hosting is separate.
Very little. Very little. Yeah, that's,
Drew?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, sorry, yeah, no, I wish I had a more elaborate answer to that, yeah.
What did you get more from than the request in terms of the chart?
So they actually requested for more than what was in our system, so that's a discrepancy, that's an error on my behalf, sorry, I'm the secretary. They requested 6,791, and that's what we gave them. They had an error in what was like on our spreadsheet, so that's my fault, sorry. I'll fix that right now.
I can fix it for you, don't know.
Yeah, do you mind? That'd be great.
Any other questions for Laurel? And we'll be seeing that proposal for $3,500 in just a few moments. I can't edit this, sorry.
Okay.
Okay, any questions for Laurel? All right, great, excellent. Okay, moving on, David.
Hey guys, nothing new, really. We're gonna still be taking on kind of changing the process of clubs. We talked in SOC about what we're gonna be doing going forward. It should be a good semester. We did a lot.
Great. Luke?
Hey everyone. Committees were sent out last week, so you all should know what committee you're on. Hopefully by this point you've worked out a meeting time and selected a chair and secretary. If the chair of each committee could just send your meeting time to me in like a short email so I know when you're meeting, that would be awesome to have that in writing. Additionally, governance boards, You got an email from Hallie today, all of you, saying that there are 2 SAB slots open and 1 AAB slot open. If you know anybody that would be good, it'd be really helpful to get those filled because those are 2 really important governance boards, and it's important to make all the impact that we can. And additionally, we have 5 Senate slots open from the senior class and 1 from the junior class. So again, if there's anybody that you think would be good for those positions, really encourage them to do it because it's important to get those filled. And last thing, as all of you have heard by now, Brenda Tracy's coming tomorrow. It's really important that you be there. I've heard her speak before, and I can say that it's the most important thing you could be doing tomorrow night. So hopefully I'll see all of you there.
Great, thanks, Luke. Do we have a secretary of campus affairs here? Any update on that, or? Okay. For me, I have a couple things I want to say, but first I want to take this chance to just introduce the new senators who are coming back from abroad. So if you could just stand up if you're new and just state your name, just so everyone knows real quickly. You can say your class year, but you're probably a junior. So go ahead.
Hi, I'm Claudia Hensley. I'm a junior. I was abroad in Dublin, and Rachel Waxman was my counterpart, and now she's in DC, so I'm taking over for her.
Thanks, Claudia.
Hi, my name is Yun Kim, and 2 is kind of stick, so I'm placing it just for this semester.
Thanks, Yoon-hee.
Hi, I'm Emma Palmer. I'm a junior, and I was from Australia, and I'm taking lots of this.
Thanks, Emma.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm a junior. I was abroad in Nepal, and I'm taking a grad slot.
Thanks, Jenny.
I'm Kira Palmer, also a junior. I was abroad in Dublin, and I'm taking Abby Waxer's slot.
Thanks, Kira.
Do I also stand up?
Sure, Gavin.
Okay. I'm Gavin. I'm a junior. I was not abroad last semester, but I split a ticket without Boylan, so I'm taking this spot.
Hi, I'm Phil Black. I came back from abroad from Manchester, and I got the ticket with Alex Wallace.
Great. Anyone else want to introduce themselves? All right, great. So hopefully you can all get to know them better throughout the course of the semester. From me, if your clicker is malfunctioning, not working, come at the end of Senate. We'll figure it out. If you're a committee chair, you need to stay after the meeting. There's some logistical stuff we have to talk about, getting minutes set up, and talking about cabinet meetings that are Sundays at 1 p.m. Also, what was I going to say? All right, maybe it'll come back to me. But so far, I think we're off to a good start. I'm impressed with the level of energy that's in the room already. So let's keep going and pushing forward. Yes?
I don't know if it's like super annoying to ask all the like first year students to introduce themselves. Like, sorry if that's annoying to everyone, but it'd be nice to know.
Okay, yeah. Why don't you just all just quickly go and say your name? That would be great. Just
I'm Keon Trey. I'm from India. Patrick Hughes.
I'm Lucy Bridey.
I'm Raji.
I'm Judy Matalas. Hi.
I'm Anna Rapson.
I'm Ben Becker.
I'm Max Waller.
I'm Scott Savada.
I'm Dewey Woolbeck. And I'm Drew Friedhoff.
Awesome. All right. Hopefully we'll have some sort of social gathering to continue the name learning process. Okay, let's move right into committee reports. So can we have the chair of the AAC just quickly come up, introduce yourself, and maybe talk about a goal or 2 for the semester. So AAC, do we have a chair?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Could you just, yeah. Let's try to just keep it moving, is all.
Okay, so GAC met today, basically just Ben and I. We haven't figured out like our set meeting time yet, but we're working on it. Some group meet
Wait, no.
What?
All right.
You yelled at me to get up here.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead. This is GAC now.
So this is GAC now. And basically we want to iron out a lot of the problems we had last semester because there were a couple of those with a lot of what we sent out. So that's our main priority. Also just kind of looking at the bylaws and fixing those. If you have any recommendations for us, please come to either me or Ben.
Thanks, Kate. All right. Do we have an AAC chair? Okay, Gavin, you want to come down?
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So I'm Gavin, junior, chair of the AAC. Basically, we did a lot of very good work last semester, and this semester we'll just try to be continuing on with that, especially working with the registrar's office, doing some work around lab hours and lab credits, and then Yoon-hee, who's a new member of our committee, suggested a lot of helpful ideas about working on SU credits and repeated core courses. So very happy to work toward that this semester. Any questions? No? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Gavin. EAC?
Hey everybody, so EAC met twice today actually. We met once with the mayor at noon. She is still a wonderful lady. And we met again to do our election and come up with a meeting time and everything right before this meeting. With the mayor, she confirmed that trash cans indeed are happening and that the town is like doing the garbage collection, but we're paying for the trash cans, which like seems like a pretty good deal to me. In the coming weeks, we're going to be focusing on recycling on Broad Street because apparently she said like if Broad Street houses want to just leave their recycling out on the curb like tomorrow, it'll just be picked up on Monday, like no questions asked. But we're trying to get like bins to do that with, so we're going to be looking into that. And then apparently there's a meeting going on between like landlords of Hamilton and yeah, people know. Between landlords of Hamilton and town and our dean of students, and we're trying to find a way to like communicate the outcome of that meeting to students, whether that's a forum or a newsletter or something like that. So that is what we're working on.
Thanks, Ryan. Do you have an SAC?
I was like, what's the motivation for this meeting?
I think she just said that they're like reevaluating the expectations for it somehow. I don't really know what that means, but she said it wasn't like a bad thing for students.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that open, that meeting?
It didn't really sound like it, but.
Okay, SAC?
Hi everyone, my name is DZ, I'm a sophomore. I'm going to be chairing up SAC. I think that we have a lot, there will be a lot on our plate. I know Eli's kind of been helping us through getting more resolutions passed. And we really want students to have a bigger voice this semester. So just keep us updated on things that students tell us and want to see done, because we really want to be proactive this semester. So.
Thanks, gentlemen. SOC, did you want to add anything? No? Okay, and is there someone from CLC here? All right, wow. Guess we know what the better branch of government is. Okay, moving into new business. Let's go ahead and see the Africana Women's Week proposal. I guess I don't really have anything for that, but I'm going to turn off the projector. What you prefer?
Does this work?
Yeah, oh yeah, do you want to, oh, the microphone? Hello? No. Sorry. Yeah.
We just have like a quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just, yeah, maybe you can just give your, yeah, that would be good. I won't get out of your way, sorry.
Hi everyone, I'm Justine, the co-chair. Oh, go ahead. I'm Tashi, and we're the co-chair women of Sisters of the Round Table, which is a group for women of color on campus, but anyone is welcome to attend. So we're here because we have a lot of money we're asking for Africana Women's Week, and we can explain all of it. So Africana Women's Week, just in general, it goes from the last week of February to the first week of March. And it's used to like highlight women of color. So we invite speakers, artists, poets, etc. To come to our campus and like share their experience with us. Yeah, do you want to go into more details about that?
Yeah, so this year, the reason that we're asking for so much is in the past we've had the president's office fund a lot of it, but this year we were only able to get $10,000 from him. So we have Princess Nokia as our keynote. We're in contact with her, and then Tatiana Fazlalizadeh as our artist and artist for Art as Resistance, as a form of resistance, and Raina Betty as our poet. And then we also have a family dinner and Finesse the Trust, which is about hair. So those are two different events we're also asking for funding for. And Princess Nokia is like the majority of that, which would be a $20,000 artist fee. And then Tatiana is $4,000, and Raina Betty is 2,500, and we also have a group called Brew House coming for a party at the Palace on March 3rd, which would also be, they have like an $8,000 artist fee because there's 4 of them. They're going to be doing their own sets. They're all DJs. So that's like the majority of it. The reason why there's so much this year is because we don't have as much funding from the President's office.
And we're bringing like the speakers that Tashi just said because they fit into our theme of like, we're trying to highlight like a non-conventional form of feminism and like stray away from like an academic sense of it. So like Princess Nokia, embodies this, and also so do the other artists that we're asking to come.
So if you have like any questions about that, you can also answer like questions about each artist too, or if you want a more detailed proposal, we have that as well.
You mentioned in the past that you've done this week before. How well attended was it in the past?
Very well attended. Last year we brought Diane Guerrero from Orange is the New Black to speak on immigration issues and her experience with it, and Olin was packed.
Yeah.
And then we also had the all-white party. I'm not sure if you remember. That was also very well attended. So yeah.
Also, it's not just that we've done before, but it's an annual event, so it happens every year.
Is there a reason that President's Club isn't funding you guys as much this year?
We weren't given a reason. We just kind of have dinner with him, and then we talk to him via email, and then we get them back.
So previously, did you guys get like your entire funding from the President's Club?
Not the entire.
We asked BAC for like smaller things last year, I think, because I think that he covered Diane Guerrero last year, yeah, which was like a $30,000 artist fee, so that was.
Sorry. Once again, what is like your budget this year compared to your budget last year?
I don't have our budget. We don't have our budget from last year, but I think it was around $40,000 last year, and this is $35,000. So every year it's pretty like heavy budget.
Any more questions?
Yeah. Are you looking for funding from anyone else besides the SGA?
Yeah, so we have that 10,000, and we're also going to be asking departments, especially after this process, we need to know how much we're going to be able to get. And then we also are thinking about doing BSA for certain things. Like Brewhouse is coming for the party, but they also do like a lot of awesome workshops. So we're thinking of doing like a very casual workshop before, and then asking BSA for that if we do it on Broad Street, like in Bench or something like that.
And we've already secured funding from like the Donovan's Club Gift Fund, and we're gonna reach out to Commons to see if they'd like to collaborate and send money. So.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so we're gonna have them step out, and we're gonna hear from Laurel quickly about the proposal. Right? Yeah.
What?
You'll speak a little bit about them. Yeah.
Should they wait here?
If they could step out just for the vote.
Okay.
I think. I mean, that's how we usually do it for. Yeah.
Does anyone have any additional questions for? Yeah. Can you join me?
Yeah, counter. Yeah, Kurt's got it. Yeah. if your clicker isn't working, if you wouldn't mind just like telling me your vote, you can either come up here or you can just raise your hand.
Alright, so
A for yes, B for
A for yes, B for no, C for abstention.
close.
Yeah, you just have to give it.
it's multiple choice.
Yep. Okay, yeah. Yeah, raise your hand if your clicker's not working. Okay.
Mine's working.
1, 2. Okay, is everyone fine with just a hand raise? Okay, raise your hand if you're in favor. Okay. No, just if your clicker is not working. Raise them high. If your clicker is not working, all right, 3 in favor. If your clicker is not working, or anyone opposed if your clicker is not working? Anyone abstaining if your clicker is not working? All right, so add 3 yeses to the total, whatever that is.
So I'll just write it down.
All right, we have 31 reporting right now. Nicole, do you have the number? And that's so 34 with the.
35.
All right, we're missing 1 vote, but that's okay. Just make sure you voted. Okay, close. Then you hit the little graph button. Whoa. Okay, so it passes with, what is that, 33 in favor and 1 opposed. So, great. We have that to look forward to. It should be good. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so this is a constitutional amendment, so we're going to see it this week and vote on it in 2 weeks.
Alright, so what's up everyone?
Yes.
He was so excited.
Oh, we weren't copies for you?
Oh, we weren't?
Oh, I thought. Oh.
Got it for the Women's Week.
I mean, why can't it be both?
I was
Alright, so last semester we took a theme of transparency because let's be honest, no one outside of the SGA really knows what we do, you know? Like if you ask anyone, they just think we're a self-governing body. And so what we mainly did in terms of transparency last semester, we had the live stream, we had a great slices and suggestions event, and we had what we're going to talk about today, the publication of the SGA newsletter. And if you haven't seen it, it looks really amazing, like, amazing job. And so I talked about this toward the end of last semester, but for those of you who don't know, Tolu and I looked through the Constitution and the section where it says that the Director of Communications should publish a newsletter, and we found 2 main problems with it. First of all, there's the publishing timeline, and then there's the section that discusses and defines the newsletter. So with the publishing timeline, it's the current Constitution states that the Director of Communications needs to publish a newsletter like the Sunday before the end of each month. But that has 2 main problems because first of all, it rushes the Director of Communications to compile all of the events like right before he publishes the newsletter. And then it also means that each monthly newsletter is could also like completely not take into account everything that happens after that Sunday. So it's not really a report on the month, it's more a report on everything up to the last Sunday of the month. And then you have the problem with the section that discusses and defines the newsletter, because what Tolu and I saw was that it leaves no concrete standards for like future newsletters, you know? So there's no way to ensure consistency, like consistently good newsletters are going out each and every month. And also, like future directors of communication are not going to have guidelines for future newsletters. So it creates more. So we need to create more of a system of accountability and consistency within our newsletters. And so what we have today is we have some legislation that corrects those 2 problems and actually defines a newsletter based on the standards that Kurt set for us in his newsletter. So it provides the solutions to both of these problems. So first of all, as you'll see, it says that the Director of Communications will publish a newsletter within 10 days after the last day of each month. So what we have there is we have a publication timeline that will allow for the Director of Communications to take into account everything that the SGA has done within the preceding month. So you have a good documentation of what we've actually been doing for the whole month. And then also we have standards that me and Kurt discussed last semester. So like we have, it mandates reports given by the committee chairs, the cabinet, the president, vice president, the BAC, and the CLC with highlights from each meeting. So it's not going to overwhelm the reader with detailed accounts of each meeting, but it's going to make sure that they know actually what we're doing. And then we also have the inclusion of that the newsletter will contain lists of SGA-sponsored events with the dates and times of those events so that people can actually know when our events are, where our events are, and they'll actually be coming to more of our events. So that's all I have to say. Are there any questions? Yes.
Is it written in there anywhere that like how, or a date by each month when committees have to submit reports, the cabinet, or like president, vice president?
No, that would mainly be up to the Director of Communications, so long as they are able to publish the newsletter within 10 days after the last day.
Why did you decide on 10 days? Seems a little long.
10 days, I felt would give the Director of Communications enough time to actually thoroughly compile all of these different pieces of data that they're collecting throughout the preceding month. While still being within a window of time that's still going to be relevant by saying like what happened the preceding month and what's going to happen in the upcoming month. Yes.
Previously, if the Sunday were to fall on like the 24th or 25th, would the remaining 5 to 7 days not be included in the next newsletter?
No, as far as I know, that would end up being up to the Director of Communications, like what they would want to include in it. But this way, what we have is we're able to actually paint a clearer picture of what the SGA has done in the preceding month.
Any other questions for Senator Becker? All right, awesome job. We'll see this bill again in 2 weeks for a vote. Okay, for our last item on new business, can we have the principal authors of the resolution to suspend social hosting during Brenda Tracy's visit come up, please?
So as you all know, the SGA and Rachel did a great job, and a bunch of other members who were on that committee did a lot of work to bring Brenda Tracy here, and there was a lot of people who put in a lot of work advertising this event and kind of stressing the magnitude and just how important this event is for everyone on campus. And so this resolution is mainly getting at, on the nights of the Brenda Tracy talks, the SGA would just halt the food grants, and we would also push the dean of the college to kind of not process any social hosting for those 2 nights.
We just want to make sure that as many people that can go, will go. And so if people have other conflicts and they're not going to show up, and we want to make sure that everyone shows up. So no one has an excuse like, oh, I had a club meeting or oh, I had this. Because if everyone, if there's literally nothing else happening on campus, then people can actually show up.
Right, and it goes further than just social hosting. So there's also, do we have the amendment in here now?
No. I also wanted to, because we didn't originally write it, but then I was approached about club sports, and we think that because her talk is specifically about athletes, and like sexual assault, like in regards to sports teams, that we think it's important that all members of sports teams are able to come as well. So I wrote a friendly amendment to put in there about canceling practice tomorrow as well for club sports teams. Because varsity athletes already met with her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're all going.
Doing it anyway.
Okay.
Okay, would we be in favor of a friendly amendment that includes a clause saying that student athlete, what, can you describe it?
Yes, that a letter would be sent out, like on the bottom. Will you scroll down? Scroll down. Where it says it'll be presented to the Parent Athletic Council, blah, 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 that it'll also include like sports teams as well. And then we'll call for them additionally to cancel practice.
For club sports or for
Well, we just put club sports because we can.
We'll also have to add in,
Yeah,
probably possibly the IM.
And do you think we should add varsity, like getting perspective from a varsity athlete?
No, because varsity sports already
Yeah.
are required.
Right.
Especially for the basketball game that she's doing.
Yeah.
But as far as IM goes, I know that there's a lot of conflict in games, especially for basketball.
Yeah.
So that would probably be the biggest thing to reach out to.
Okay. Cool.
We can do club sports and intramurals as well.
Yeah.
So we'll have to present it.
Thing that you want it to be
I mean,
presented to.
I already like wrote it.
It's already written out. In
I
a
already
new-
wrote it down.
Is it written down in a new document, like updated
Yeah, I
version?
emailed it to you.
Okay, all right. I'm just asking, is it a new document?
No, it's the clauses to just add.
Yeah, it's a new document. It's on a different doc than that one.
Would it be a recommendation or would it be like an enforcement? On the club, on the club sports and IM sports? Is it like just a recommendation or is it like?
Yeah, it's a resolution.
All right, these would be the friendly amendments that we'd be making. Can we just get all in favor of inserting these?
You need to add IM sports. I didn't add that yet.
Yeah. Under which section?
The IM sports.
Club sports, teams,
And IM.
yeah, probably under.
Does that make sense?
We'll have to do another clause probably. We'll have to do section 7.
Why?
Just because we have to actually contact the person that runs IM, like the person in Huntington. They have like a separate person that does that. And they also pay referees, so they pay students to do that. So it's like a, yeah, this, who's going to be in charge of presenting this bill? Like going around. Do we have the roster? Who has the roster for the heads of those? David's not here.
Okay, we can take that out then. We'll just suggest it.
We'll need to, does anybody know what that position's called that runs IM? I know it's, I think it's Coach Chapman.
Rugby coach?
Yeah, you're right, it's Coach Chapman that runs
Yeah,
it.
it's Coach Chapman.
Yeah, but I don't know what his like IM title is. There's some titles.
IM director, maybe.
Yeah, the director of intramural sports.
Yeah.
Because they pay students to like referee the games, so they'll have to like tell those students that they're not coming.
They're not getting paid.
Yeah, and they're gonna.
All right, sorry for all the confusion. It's just technically when a bill is already put in to the agenda, any of these like later changes have to be reflected as like friendly amendments. So that's why we're kind of, looks like we're scrambling now.
Can I ask a question while we're doing that?
Yeah.
Doesn't the, like, for Greek life, doesn't the social hosting form go through CLSI? Don't you like file it with CLSI?
Yeah.
Is CLSI included on this? For like people to ask to abstain?
I don't think it's included, but we can add that as well.
Okay.
While we're adding things, we might as well just throw that in there too.
You just had it right there.
Senator Bundy And Alarvi, do you want to just comment on the general resolution while we do this?
Yeah, I actually think that like beyond just the fact that it runs into time, like it's also just kind of the message of what she's conveying. Like Thursday, her session technically starts at 4:30. I don't think there's one after that, but like considering what she's talking about, like we should take this week, or at least those 2 nights, to at least think about what she's saying and the message. And I don't think that's really necessarily a night that we need to like socially host.
Also, like if stuff is going on those nights and like people don't feel comfortable going out, then like this takes away the options of having to tell their friends that like I don't want to go out because like I just had a rough day. So yeah.
What are the times you speaking
4:30 and then 7 on Wednesday and then 4:30 on Thursday.
7:30 and 9.
Sorry, 7:30. Yeah.
7:30 for women and 9 for men.
Gavin?
I recall that on Thursday at 4:30 there is another presentation. I think there's
Yes.
like an editor of the Atlantic here. Or something like that.
Yeah.
I maybe it's like next, but I think it's this Thursday.
Well, that's a gender inclusive one, so people like
If you can make
option to go with whatever they are.
Yeah, I mean, I'll speak broadly on the resolution. Ultimately, this is all happening tomorrow and Thursday. So what we're doing here as a student government is we're trying to send a message to campus. We're saying we believe you should attend these talks. We hope that you will heed our advice and stop any social hosting event that you may have planned or may be considering going through. And we hope that you will stand in solidarity with the rest of not only SGA but the entirety of this campus by prioritizing Brenda Tracy's talks as opposed to any other possible event that you could be pursuing during those times. So we will submit the resolution if it's signed to these mentioned like organizations, to these people, but ultimately it's going to be also kind of like a self-enforced policy, if that makes sense. Just kind of putting the onus on the students to really like stand up and go to Brenda Tracy's talks because of how important they really are. And so that's what we are trying to do here tonight with this resolution. And just like a little background on any SGA resolution, we cannot like tell the school what they have to do. We just make a recommendation. So if we pass this tonight, we are recommending that these are the steps that be taken. So that's why we're doing this tonight.
But so just to clarify, like nothing's necessarily being canceled. Like this isn't something saying that.
By passing this, we would not be canceling anything.
Okay.
We would simply be recommending that these steps are taken. Yeah. Although with the SGA food grant, we do control that we can shut down.
Any other questions?
Did you, Senator Hughes?
With the SGA food grants, this is a resolution recommending that we stop social hosting the week. But we have to do something separate for that then, or is that included?
So it's the halting of the SGA food grants for those 2 days.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks to everyone that worked on the resolution. Do I see any motions? Yes. Motion to vote. Is that seconded? Are there any other motions? Okay. All in favor of Senator Yu's motion to vote? All right. We will now enter voting procedure. We'll do the same thing. Yeah. Did you have a question? Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, if your clicker's not working, if you would like to vote in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand. Those who are not, okay, 4. Is your clicker not working?
Is it still closed?
Oh yeah.
I'm just doing, those of you whose clicker is not working, please raise your hand if you would like to vote yes on the resolution. You need your clicker not working?
No.
Okay, okay. 4. All right, if you would like to vote no. If you'd like to abstain. Okay, so you can have 4 yeses. Okay, it should be open now, so. Okay, the resolution passes unanimously. Thanks to everyone who worked on that. And most importantly, make sure to attend the actual talk. That's much more important than the resolution. Okay, good of the order. Well, committee chairs stay after. What I realized that I wanted to say before was that Senator Becker here has so kindly volunteered to help me out with the clickers. So for those of you who were here last semester, there was a bill passed for transparency liaison. So I, as speaker, have to appoint him and get a 2/3 approval. We will do that next meeting. I just wanted to introduce the concept here, and then we'll do a formal vote next meeting. So look out for that. And then please stay if your clicker's not working or if you're a committee chair. Luke, did you want to add anything?
No, that's it.
Okay, any announcements? Yeah.
Can the AAC meet briefly after the meeting? If you're on the AAC, meet briefly after the meeting.
Any other announcements? Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a clarification for the Member Tracy presentations. On Wednesday, they're at 7:30 and 9, not 4:30 and 7:30. So the 7:30 one is female identified, the 9 is male identified, and then the 4:30 one on Thursday is gender inclusive. And if you can't make or if you're planning on making the Thursday one, there's a Set the Expectation basketball game, which is tomorrow night at 7. So if you're planning on going on Thursday, it would be really cool to show up to the basketball game. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Any other announcements? All right, the chair would be in favor of a motion to adjourn. Is that seconded? All in favor? Approved. All right, thanks for a great meeting. Stay after if you're one of the things that I mentioned.
Is it possible to send out a rescue report?